Good day, everyone. I hope you are doing great. Well, this is the Real News session with Andrews the Right. Now, the World Trade Organization Director General, that is Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala from Nigeria, who happens to be the first African and a woman to occupy the position of Director General at the World Trade Organization. She shares an experience of when her mother was kidnapped when she was the finance minister last few years. In my next episode, I will tell you more about this wonderful woman who made history and made Africans proud. Her experience is sad, but let's listen to the experience that she shared.
My 83-year-old mother, a retired professor of sociology, was kidnapped by 4 young men and held for 5 days. Keeping her wits about her as she was totally terrified, she asked them why she had been kidnapped. And they told her, quote, "Because your daughter, the finance minister, refused to pay oil marketers their dues." The kidnappers, negotiating with my brother, demanded my resignation publicly. I should go on television publicly and announce my resignation and depart from the country as a condition for my mother's release. Needless to say, these were some of the worst days of my life. Imagine when you are in position, you want your parents, all of whom are here with you today, and your relatives, to be proud of you. You want to be a source of good for your family. You can imagine how I felt sitting there and thinking, just because of trying to do something right, to implement a good bit of policy that was good for the country, this could lead to the taking of my mother's life. These were some of the worst days of my life. With my father's support, the firm resolve of the president, we all decided I should not give in to the blackmailers, and I refused to resign. Following a manhunt, I'm sorry, I still feel emotional when I talk about it. And this story is not really publicly known, so this is probably the first time I'm giving the full details. Following a manhunt for my mother by police and security agencies, she was able to make a dramatic escape after 5 days in captivity, where she had only been given water and half of a sausage roll. So here was a well-justified cleanup and reform of a policy, but implemented in a dangerous reform environment where the losers in the reform, well-entrenched vested interests, decided to fight back to derail implementation. The decision not to resign was a very difficult and risky one. As it turned out, it worked. But there are days I ask myself, on my down days, what if it hadn't? What if they had gone ahead and murdered my mother, as she overheard them planning to do, with one of their handlers on the phone? Could I have justified trading off firmness on policy and standing up to blackmailers, implementing a good piece of public policy for my mother's life? What decision would you have made? Faculty, what decision would you have made?
We thank God that her mom is doing fine. It is not easy being a leader. She is a great leader and a good woman. Therefore, we should all remember to keep praying for our leaders. Of course, they are bad ones, but the good ones. Let's recognize them, give them support, and pray for them. There was another story that caught my eye. There was a plane that disappeared about 37 years ago, and it suddenly resurfaced. Yes, it suddenly appeared from nowhere. In fact, I thought such things happen in movies, in movies where you see an alien abducted or something of that sort, but the plane just appeared in real life. Well, this is the real news, so it is real. Okay, so I don't know, but let's watch the full video.
A missing plane from 1955 landed after 37 years. Here's what happened. Life is full of mysteries, many of which are unsolved. And then some baffling mysteries seem to defy the laws of physics, space, and time. Mysteries like Area 51, the Bermuda Triangle, the Great Sphinx of Giza, and the Stonehenge are only to name a few. All of these wonders fascinate people even today and keep giving us a myriad of conspiracy theories. There are a few other lesser-known mysteries too. This story is about one such mystery that left everyone confused and struggling for answers. The story of the Pan Am Flight 914 has been a matter of intrigue to many people across the planet. Pan Am Flight 914 was a Douglas DC-4 that took off from New York City on July 2, 1955. It carried 57 passengers and 6 crew members, and it was headed for Miami, Florida. For a short while, the flight appeared to proceed normally. It was expected to land in Miami within a couple of hours. But during the flight, something happened that seemingly changed the lives of everyone on the plane. Without any communication, Pan Am Flight 914 disappeared from the radar, and the control room lost contact with the plane. It was as if the aircraft had disappeared into thin air. Authorities went into a frenzy to locate the plane. They assumed that something had gone wrong and the plane had collapsed. Despite many attempts to trace the whereabouts of the plane, nothing could be found. No wreckage was located around the area, and no bodies were found. After months of investigation, authorities concluded that the plane was lost in the sea. The airline compensated the families of the passengers for their loss. The case was assumed closed. But 37 years later, everything changed. On 21st of May 1992, the plane would be found again. A mysterious aircraft suddenly started showing up on the radar at Caracas, Venezuela. An air traffic controller then received a contact signal from the mystery plane. The pilot was voicing his concerns to the tower, shouting, "Where are we?" He continued, "We are Pan Am Airways Flight 914 from New York to Miami with a crew of 6 and 57 passengers." This unbelievable communication stunned the controllers at Caracas. Trying to maintain some control over the situation, the controller began to ask questions to the pilot. He asked if the pilot had experienced any trouble during their flight. Having flown in the opposite direction from New York, the flight was off course by some 1800 km. "Are you Mayday?" asked the controller. But there was no response. After a while, the pilot communicated again. He said that they were scheduled to land in Miami on July 2, 1955, at 9:55 a.m. Then, he started saying that something wasn't right with the view in front of him. The controller broke the news to the pilot as calmly as he could. "This is Caracas International Airport. The date is May 21, 1992. The pilot thought it was some kind of a joke but began breathing rapidly. The controller asked the pilot to remain calm. As the plane prepared to land, the ground handlers could now clearly see the plane. They couldn't believe what they saw. The aircraft was an outdated model. They could see screaming passengers with their faces pressed up against the windows. The ground crew directed the flight to land. Security guards prepared to help the distraught passengers. As they approached the plane, the pilot shouted at them, "No. Do not come near. We are leaving now." The pilot then turned the plane towards the nearest runway. He hastily dropped something out of the window before preparing to fly again, a calendar. He took off, leaving a stunt crew behind. Hours later, the plane landed at its original destination, Miami. The calendar and the tower tapes were reportedly seized by the authorities and were never made public. The passengers and crew were interrogated in Florida by the stunned security officials. There were so many questions that seemed to have no plausible answers. Not one of them had aged a day in these 37 years. Officials wondered how the plane had managed to operate for so long. But the internet resorted to all kinds of theories that are still making the rounds. It became a hot topic on forums with UFO and time travel enthusiasts. The most popular and widely believed theory is that the plane had passed through some kind of time portal or wormhole. But nobody knows how exactly wormholes or time portals might work. What had only been a few hours for the flight members had been 37 years for the rest of the world. The story gained widespread coverage on the internet. Many people even presented their theories backed by what they claimed to be solid evidence. But as much as the theorists wanted the story to be true, it was what it was, a story. It dates to a story first published in 1985 by the Weekly World News, a tabloid that specialized in concocted stories. It was the only tabloid to write about this incident in 3 separate stories. All the stories had a few inconsistencies in terms of the dates and time. The air traffic controller was identified in 2 different photographs. There will always be people who believe otherwise, and they still insist that there is some substance behind the whole thing, which has been kept hidden from us. But as tantalizing as it may sound to many of us, the story just seems to be an elaborate fabrication.
In fact, God has to continue to keep us safe in this world. A plane just disappeared and appeared after 7 years. The passengers were of the same age. Just imagine if you were in that plane yourself. God keep us safe. Now, to those of you that have decided not to take the COVID vaccine, you need to protect yourself and protect the ones around you. Taking the COVID-19 vaccine is not a lack of faith. These are the words from Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams. I want us to listen about what he said about COVID-19 vaccine after he took the shot.
Sure. I went for the vaccine last week. I did the vaccine. And somebody said, Papa, where's your faith? And I said, it takes faith to take the vaccine. It takes faith. And I said, the reason why you are not taking the vaccine is because you are afraid. You are afraid of what will happen to you if you take the vaccine. You are afraid because you become a victim of conspiracy theories on social media. People are sending me all kinds of conspiracy theories and lies about the vaccine. Meanwhile, we take other vaccines, polio and yellow fever, all different kinds of vaccine. We've been taking it for years. What is the difference between that and this? Oh, this one is too quick. This one was done too early. Church, vaccine is vaccine. And if you think I don't have faith for taking it, you are joking. I have faith. But taking the vaccine is also common sense. And it's also wisdom. And I'd rather take it for those who don't have faith, not to take it to take it. Because I rather prefer for people to live than for them to die and say, well, if Papa is not taking it, I'm not going to take it. Do you know the level of my faith? I have tested 22 times negative. 22 times. I have all the results. Negative. 22 times. Yet, I am not taking chances with the life of other people. So if you haven't taken the vaccine and you have opportunity, take it. And for those of you who have the faith not to take it, don't take it. Don't take it. It's not. I'm not forcing any. I'm not telling anybody take it. Yeah. If you have the faith not to take it, don't take it. But don't go around telling anybody that don't take it. I haven't taken it, so you too don't take it. Your level of faith is different from the level of faith of others. You think it's fear that is allowing me to allow this lady, I don't know her, to inject me? Yeah. I don't even know who the lady is. Just put something and inject me. That is faith. Faith. Because I believe that I'll be fine. And since I took it, I've been fine. No headache, no feveriness, no cold, nothing. And I will be in good health and be alive now and after. In the name of Jesus. If anything will happen to anybody that took it, not me. No, minus me. I am exempted from any conspiracy theory of the vaccine. I'm exempted. If you don't have what to preach, stop preaching. Stop making a whole sermon out of vaccine.
That's it, my friends. Join me next week for more interesting real news across the globe. Thank you and have a great weekend. Bye.